I have some footage from the TMZ documentary that aired Friday night, and I want to show you a clip because my question of the day is where's the blood? Where's the blood? Because again, for the past month, all we've been hearing is there were blinds placed over curtains. There was blood all over the bed. There was a bathtub full of blood. There was footprints all over the carpet, shoe prints everywhere. So that's my question of the day. Where is the blood? And TMZ answers the question, and you're going to be shocked as to what their answer is. So welcome to another edition of Black Swan Diaries. So we've been talking about this case for the past 3+ weeks, really since about December 16th. And I've been doing a deep dive, trying to overturn every stone that I can find. And if you approach this investigation from the perspective of Nick is guilty, it's going to taint how you look at things. It just is. So instead, what I try and do is I use your own rules in America. I say, what if Nick is presumed innocent until proven guilty? So let's try and prove that he's guilty. Let's try and do that. Because otherwise, if you just throw away the key and you book him for life behind bars or you execute him and you don't do your due diligence, it seems kind of weird. It seems like the rules that you have for the justice system in America go out the window. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be unbiased, starting from the perspective, starting basically from scratch to say, okay, what if he's presumed innocent? What would that look like? And that's what I've been doing for the past 3-4 weeks, leaning on the idea, because you have to pick a side eventually. So I'm leaning on the side that Nick is not guilty. And this goes against 99% of the media out there. And I have my reasons for it. The biggest reason is TMZ. If you don't know who TMZ is, you can go look them up on their channel. I remember doing a live show the same day that Charlie Kirk got assassinated. And I thought that was a big Black Swan event as well, because it changes our perception of what is really going on before our eyes. Like, you start questioning the narrative. And I've been doing this for the past 4 years. It'll be actually my 4-year anniversary, February 22nd. I'll have to do something special for that. But I've been looking at different stories throughout the past 4 years. I started with President Zelensky. I said, this is kind of fishy. I visited I think it was the Scott Keystone Bridge. I visited their stabbings, the river stabbings in Minnesota. I talked about the lights that everybody was talking about last year in Chicago. I talked about the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. I talked about Charlie Kirk. Like, this is what I do on my channel. And I remember distinctly last year that there was a video that popped up, and there was an organization that as soon as they found out that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, killed in broad daylight in front of people, they broke out into a cheer. And this was TMZ. And TMZ, Harvey Levine, had to go and make a video and apologize for it. He says, "Oh no, it's not what you. It was just a coincidence where we were watching a high-speed police chase and then broke out into a cheer." And if you map out the timing of when they found out about Charlie Kirk and the police chase footage that they're actually watching, because they're watching it live, there was nothing going on. In fact, the police car went behind some buildings, chasing another vehicle, and you could see from the helicopter that they kind of disappear for a sec. So there's nothing exciting about it. It wasn't like there was an arrest made or anything, but they broke out into a cheer so much that the staff had to go and close the door because Harvey was trying to pretend that he was emotional about it or whatever it is, whatever it was. And he had to apologize. He said it was just a coincidence. They were cheering for something else. Yeah, at the exact time they said Charlie Kirk is dead, your whole organization broke out into a cheer. That's the first time I heard about TMZ. And then you start thinking, oh, wait a minute, maybe there was another time that I heard about TMZ. Oh, yeah. You guys were the first ones to break the news that Kobe Bryant was actually killed in a helicopter crash, and that was on a Sunday morning. And you showed footage of the helicopter crashing before the family found out. And then we find out later that it was actually from a New Delhi helicopter crash that you actually showed, and then you redacted it. So uh, I think that's why I have a bone to pick with TMZ, because they're always doing weird stuff. And the second we found out about Rob and Michelle Reiner, they started working on this documentary that Nick was guilty. And there's no question. There's no doubt in their mind. Nick admitted it. He's guilty. He said he did it. All this kind of stuff. On day one, they said this. And I'm saying that's not the true narrative. And in fact, our motto here on this channel is tell the truth. It's easier to keep track of truths because they don't change. It's very hard to keep track of lies because then you got to keep track, you got to redact, you got to pull things back, you got to change timelines, all kinds of stuff. So, I'm going to show you this footage from the documentary that I watched on Friday, and I think you should watch it. It's on Hulu now. I just happened to record it so I can extract pieces from this documentary, and I'm going to do that throughout the week. I'm just going to extract pieces of the documentary because I think it's important to hear what TMZ is actually saying, and then I can share my thoughts about it. And the biggest thing that's coming up right now is they're attacking the medical industry, which honestly I don't care if they do that or don't do that. But they're saying Nick is going to plead not guilty by reason of insanity because his medication has been changed because he was gaining a little bit of weight. And that change of the medication actually caused him to murder his parents. That's what they're doing. I'm not doing that at all. I'm saying Nick is not guilty because I believe he's been set up, he's been framed, he's a patsy, just like Oswald Chambers was. It's a setup. And people have been asking, okay, well, if Nick didn't do it, you need somebody who would have done it, who would have killed Robin and Michelle Reiner. And it's like, well, you can't approach this case like that to say that, look, if we don't have anyone else, we got to hang Nick. That's not the way you do it. What we're doing is we're presenting a narrative that perhaps Nick is not guilty. And then once you figure that out and you go, okay, Nick was never there at the scene of the crime. He didn't do it. He didn't murder his parents in their sleep. Then you can start approaching the other, okay, well, who else would be an enemy of Rob and Michelle? And I think that's fair, and I think that's what should have happened on day one. But they didn't do that. Instead, the narrative was a person came into the room while they were both asleep together and slashed both of them while they were sleeping, and it's horrible. What kind of son would do this? And they go off on this tangent. And then they would say things like, well, Romy heard a dying declaration from Michelle in an ambulance. And this is TMZ that started this rumor, and it wasn't true. In fact, Romy, and now this is starting to make more sense, and I said this from day one. What if Rob and Michelle were actually attacked? What if they were attacked? What if Rob got attacked in one room and then Michelle got attacked in another room? And it was actually a robbery that something happened. Or maybe someone else, someone that has the passcodes. Maybe Rob and Michelle came home at the wrong time when they weren't supposed to come home because they're at a Christmas party. Don't know, but again, I've been saying from ever since I found this mystery guy Rocco show up, their assistant, I said maybe you should look into him and ask him questions. Where were you on Sunday? Where were you Saturday night? Did you go to the Christmas party? I would subpoena this guy and I'd ask him questions. So the timelines are all jumbled as well. What I use is actual timeline. TMZ makes up timelines. They lie about timelines. What is the biggest lie? The biggest lie is that Nick booked a hotel on Sunday morning and that Nick was arrested Sunday night. That's the biggest lie right now because we know, and I've showed this on my video, that the LAPD actually made an announcement Sunday night saying, we haven't arrested anyone. We have no suspects. We're just interviewing the family. And we don't have a search warrant, meaning we can't get back into the home. And then the reporters were saying, well, is it safe in our neighborhood? And it was like, yeah, we swept the area. There's nobody around that's dangerous, all this kind of stuff. And they had left the bodies how they found it. So they found the bodies at 3:45 p.m. and they left them there till 9:30 at night. And the coroner hadn't showed up yet. So that's important. These are important timestamps if you're trying to figure out who did what, when, where, and why, and all this stuff. You got to start with the LAPD. They said there was no arrest. They said they had no suspect. They said they had no search warrant. They said the medical examiner hadn't showed up yet on Sunday night, which is weird in itself. That's a weird thing. Usually they come within a couple of hours because rigor mortis sets in, and as time progresses, it gets harder and harder to figure out the exact moment that they died. It becomes very difficult. And then people can start tampering with events, go into the home, tamper with evidence, I should say. And that's always a nightmare for the police that are investigating this. So they roped off the area. They said nobody's going into this place until the coroner shows up. Once we have a search warrant in place from a judge, we can begin our official investigation inside the home. We're still working on this case because we're interviewing the family. The family's aware of what happened, and we're not saying anything else. This is Sunday. Monday, Nick checks into a hotel. Monday morning at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Monday night, the LAPD said that they arrested Nick. They took him into custody for 2 counts of murder. The reason why we know this is because they said yesterday we found the bodies of Rob and Michelle Reiner, meaning that was Sunday. You don't say yesterday on the same day. You don't do that. So if they said earlier today we found the bodies and then we arrested Nick, that's one thing. But they didn't say that. LAPD said yesterday we found the bodies and tonight we made an arrest, which we see the footage was at nighttime when all the news outlets started to show the rest. And arguably, they started showing it Tuesday morning. And that's when Nick was booked at the Twin Tower Correction Facility Tuesday morning at 5 a.m. That's also coincidentally when the maids discovered the blood in the hotel that was everywhere, is what we were told. They were shocked and they called the police. Turns out that story is different now. And remember, TMZ said there was blood everywhere, blinds, all this kind of stuff, blood in the on the bed sheets, on the bed, in the bathtub, all this kind of stuff. And now TMZ is changing the narrative now. They're saying that's actually not what happened. And I actually believe them. I actually believe there was no blood in the hotel room. But don't believe me, believe their words.
Based on what we're told, we also believe that they were in separate rooms when the attack happened.
Right, that's based on things we were told where we're kind of connecting the dots.
When cops got to the scene of the house in Brentwood, Nick Reiner was not there, which is kind of weird because he was living at the guest house of that property. So we actually broke the story that he had fled to a hotel in Santa Monica.
So this is where it gets interesting. So they're saying they're sticking with their narrative that it's Sunday. They're saying that Nick fled the home when the LAPD didn't know that he was there at all. It wasn't until Romy said, "Could you please let my brother know he actually lives here? Could you let him know that his parents are dead?" That was all that she said. She didn't say my brother should be a suspect, nothing like that. She didn't call 911. Her boyfriend, roommate, Alex, called 911 for her because she called Billy Crystal. And we're going to address that issue. Why did she call Billy Crystal first and not 911? And again, I don't blame her if she comes out of the house and my dad's dead and then Alex calls 911. Now that that's taken care of, I got to call Rob Reiner's close friend, a friend of the family, which is Billy Crystal. So that makes the most sense to me. So we get this is where it gets really weird. I'm just going to back this up. That Nick books a hotel close by
of that property. So we actually broke the story that he had fled to a hotel in Santa Monica. We're told that he checked in around 4 a.m. on Sunday morning.
And I'm saying he checked in Monday. So I'll just play this, but this is important later.
We got surveillance video of him walking around in that area and just aimlessly walking around. It's not an area where at 4 a.m. people are typically walking around.
He didn't look like he had a direction. Like, he just looked like he was totally aimlessly wandering.
So he's wandering around 4 a.m. Allegedly, this is him. And to me, it kind of looks like it's him. So 4 o'clock on Sunday. Okay, he's walking around.
I don't know how he got there. He could have walked.
We also got video of him, surveillance video, a little after midnight, walking around in Brentwood.
So now we're flipping back to Brentwood earlier Sunday. So this is about midnight, 12:17 a.m., December 14th. So now we get Nick walking around midnight.
At a gas station not far from the house, but it sort of tracks that if he did walk all the way to Santa Monica, this is where and when it started.
Which would then suggest the murders occurred before midnight.
The person at the front desk of the hotel.
Okay, so now they're saying that, again, this is all just hypothesis on their part, that Nick would have had to murdered his parents on Saturday. But we know Rob, Michelle, and Nick were at the Christmas party at Conan O'Brien's. So if they left the the party after midnight, this goes away. We don't know when they left. We don't even know if they all left together. I'm kind of leaning on the side. I have a feeling that Nick left with them after the party. They're like, yeah, let's go home or whatever is kind of the feeling. Just a hunch because they showed up together. I'm thinking they left together. Now, if you go off the idea that they argued with each other, that's also hearsay because sources close to the family at the party, and I think this was a family member. This could have been Romy herself. I would like to see that list. I think Romy was there. Can't prove it yet, but someone close to the family said there was no argument. It's not even worth mentioning. It was the media that hyped this up. So you have two conflicting stories now, one that says there was an argument, one that wasn't. And if there was an argument, they go off with the idea that Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner left the party early, perhaps. But they don't mention whether or not Nick left with them. And again, he doesn't drive. So you have the person at the party that nobody likes, the parents leave, and Nick is going to stay there at the party. Seems weird to me. Seems weird. Like it's not clocking with me right now. So TMZ is on record saying the murder had to happen before midnight because we see Nick walking around. My question to you is, okay, if that happened, when does Nick ever get cleaned up? When does he ever get cleaned up? If you're now saying that he murdered his parents on Saturday, when did he check in? You said Sunday morning at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning that he checked in. So that means he's wandering around for hours without any blood, with blood all over him. Oh no, Shane, he changed. He changed at home. Okay. He changed at home. Okay. So then he checked into a hotel with no blood, no cuts, no nothing. Yes, that's right, Shane. Okay. So when did the blood show up at the hotel? Well, he probably went back. He can't go back because it's locked down. It's the scene of the crime. You can't go back into that place. LAPD can't even go back in. So when did he get the blood? In the hotel, to scatter it all over the place, to put blinds up all over the curtain, to make the blood sheets covered in blood, to have the carpet soaked in blood and the bathtub full of blood, the sink full of blood everywhere. When did that happen? When did he do it? And it seems like that according to the staff, when Nick checked in, there was no blood.
Said that Nick was tweaked out when he checked in, but he didn't have any cuts or blood or anything on him. What's also interesting is he ordered 4 Heineken beers to take up to his room, but they were non-alcoholic.
We don't know.
Okay, so I'm hoping that this is loud enough for you. I apologize for that. I think next time I'll make sure the volume is really cranked. But they're saying right now that Nick ordered 4 non-alcoholic drinks, meaning he didn't want alcohol. So that's weird because you guys have been saying for the past 3-4 weeks, I'm picking on TMZ, that he was drinking, and if you mix it with his meds, it makes him all crazy. If he's on meth, if he's on heroin, if he's on Adderall, aspirin, aspartame, whatever. Like, you guys just keep throwing stuff, and it's not working. Because Nick has been clean for at least 6 years, according to TMZ. According to their sources, he hasn't been dealing with any illegal substances. So that takes us back to 2019, 2020. And remember, he was working on a movie a couple of years before that. So when did Nick get into all this trouble? TMZ is saying this only happened a month ago, that they changed his meds. And then on day 30, that's when he killed his parents. And it's their fault. It's the medical profession's fault. Okay. We're going off a little bit here, but let's stick to the hotel. Let's just see. So far, there was no blood on Nick, no nicks, no nothing, no signs of that he had any altercation whatsoever. They keep saying he looks tweaked out. They keep using that. So what? Like, you're going off of his appearance that he looks tweaked out. That's not evidence. What we do know, according to TMZ, is he ordered 4 non-alcoholic drinks. That's weird if you're trying to build the narrative that this guy likes to drink and all this kind of stuff. All right, so let's continue. And a Gatorade at the gas station.
If he knew they were non-alcoholic or not.
Totally.
Okay, so now they're again, they're going, probably Nick didn't know that he ordered 4 non-alcoholic drinks. He accidentally, like, see how they do this stuff? Evidence is right before your very eyes, and they're like, well, he probably didn't know. He didn't know that he was checking into a room with a credit card. He didn't know that he was getting non-alcoholic drinks. Let's continue.
4 Heineken beers to take up to his room, but they were non-alcoholic.
We don't know if he knew they were non-alcoholic or not.
Totally. So he went up to his room and checked in.
At some point, Nick leaves the hotel. He doesn't check out formally. He just leaves the hotel.
Okay. So for me, because I used to manage a hotel for 4 years, I did everything. I cleaned the rooms, managed the front desk. We did everything. Washed the clothes, washed the linens, cleaned the bathrooms, everything. If somebody checked in on the morning of, I would never go into that room unless they asked me to bring them a towel or whatever they needed. Maybe they ran out of coffee, whatever it is. There's no reason for me to go into that room a few hours later because that looks weird by the hotel staff. So if I booked into a hotel and then I go to the pool and I come back 2 hours later and the maids are wandering around in my room, I'm going to be suspicious. I'm going to be like, what are you guys doing here? Like, why so early? So they said he didn't check out. You don't check out after you check in. That's normal. So the maids are most likely thinking the next day, which again, according to my time, was Tuesday morning. And he hadn't checked out yet. So then they went into the rooms. TMZ is saying a few hours after he checked in, when Nick left, the maids went into the room. That doesn't happen. Logically, if you just think about it logically, house cleaning do not go into your room within a few hours of booking in. They usually wait to the next day and they have their routine. They have every floor that they got to do by a certain time because the next set of guests are checking in. I think that makes it logical. But again, Harvey keeps injecting his story, his theory.
Leaves the hotel. He doesn't check out formally. He just leaves the hotel. Now, this is really important.
Because again, checking out, and I'll back this up again, checking out means you go to the hotel desk clerk and you say, I'm leaving, don't charge me anymore because I'm leaving. And then you take all your stuff. That's an official checkout. If you're not checking out, you leave your stuff. Usually, typically you leave your bags, whatever it is, your wallet, your money, whatever it is. Maybe you put it in a secure safe in the room, and you go downstairs, you eat whatever it is, you come back upstairs, whatever. That's kind of typical. Checking out means you take all your stuff with you. So if he didn't check out, that tells me that Nick's stuff potentially could be in the room. Now, they said he left. It's weird to check in with your credit card and leave and never come back. That's a weird thing. So the reason I believe Nick never came back to his room is because he was arrested. So that's why I say Monday morning he booked a hotel. Monday night he got arrested according to the LAPD. Tuesday they booked him in. Tuesday is when the maid said, hey, he never checked out yet. Let's go clean his room. And that's when they found the blood. That's what we've been told. But now let's hear what the maids actually said happened.
just leaves the hotel. Now, this is really important. At around 11 in the morning on Sunday, the housekeeper goes into the various rooms to make them up. And she goes into room 207, which was Nick's room, and she finds blood in the shower and on the bed sheets. Now, she doesn't think anything about it because, it just could be somebody cut themselves in the room. So she didn't put anything together. She didn't know that.
Okay, that's weird because that's not what we heard before. I lean on the side that the maid saw blood in the sink, perhaps blood in the shower, because if you cut yourself, you're going to take your towel or toilet paper or whatever. You're going to dab your wherever you cut yourself, and you're going to throw the towel in the tub. That's proper hotel etiquette. You don't just throw your towels on the floor or on the bed or whatever. You throw them into the tub. So what Harvey's saying is it didn't raise any alarm bells for the hotel staff, nor would it me. I've seen that where there's a little bit of blood on the sheets, a little bit of blood in the hotel, let's say on a towel or whatever. I've seen that before. There's women that have had accidents at that time of the month. When you clean enough hotels, you're going to run into this, that there's going to be blood. There's going to be somebody with a bloody nose, whatever it is. It happens. That's the real world. So it's not alarming for a maid service, house cleaning, to see blood. And again, this was normal for them. They're like, oh yeah, a little bit of blood. That's nothing. Well, we can make sure we can get those out of the towels and bed sheets and all this stuff. That's what I'm trying to tell you, that they didn't call the police because they didn't see that this was important enough. If there was blood-soaked bed sheets, shoe prints of blood, and a bathtub full of blood, obviously you would call the police. They didn't call the police, so that changes things now. Now we have no blood at the hotel that is suspect. You got to throw that aside. All right, let's continue.
That could be really important evidence in this case.
Meanwhile,
Let me back up.
That she doesn't think anything about it because, it just could be somebody cut themselves in the room. So she didn't put anything together. She didn't know. That could be really important evidence in this case.
Yeah, this is damning evidence for the prosecution. If you don't have enough blood to be like, oh man, like we got nothing here, that's bad for the prosecution, according and I don't think Harvey realized what he's saying, that there's no blood to raise an alarm. A little bit of blood is normal. People cut themselves shaving all the time. They have nosebleeds, whatever it is. This just happens. If you have hundreds of rooms, every single day you're cleaning it, sometimes 2-3 times a day, each room, because people check in and check out and all this stuff. You're going to run into that. That's my whole point. And he's saying this could be important to the investigation. Yeah, this will be important to the defense as well. This is why I say this documentary actually helps the defense more than the prosecution.
Meanwhile, after Nick left the hotel, we know that he made his way to Exposition Park near downtown LA, which is a notorious area for drug.
It's like a drug den where people.
So what they're trying to do is build a narrative that Nick left right away. He fled the hotel Sunday, and then he got arrested by the police. We know the police scoped out Nick for about an hour before they arrested him. When did they arrest him? They arrested him December 15th. How do we know this? Well, there's cop cars all over. There's undercover cop cars all over this area. Don't believe me? Look at the undercover cops in the car. Watch this. Watch the guy on the left of the car. He actually raises up his phone. I'll do it just so you guys can. He goes like this, and then he puts his phone down. He goes like this and puts his phone down. Watch him. He's an undercover cop. They're scoping Nick out. They're waiting for the proper time to arrest him.
Hotel We know that he made his way to.
So watch the guy in the red / pinkish salmon shirt on the left. He's an undercover cop. Both of them are undercover cops. In fact, that white car in front, just above Nick, that is also a cop car. They're waiting for the appropriate time to arrest Nick.
Exposition Park near downtown LA, which is a notorious area for drug. It's like a drug den.
Boom. There's the guy. He's taking video footage of Nick as part of their investigation. I showed you this. This is the exact same thing that the guy's doing. Look at that. It looks exactly the same. He went like this, he goes like this, and then back down. Nobody else noticed that but yours truly. Thank you for that. That was for free. Let me back it up again so you guys can watch it.
Town LA, which is a notorious area for drug. It's like a drug den where people go to score drugs.
And puts his phone down. Then they arrest him shortly
So
thereafter.
used his cell phone data to track him to Exposition Park, and that's where he was arrested. Our sources say that
All right.
a critical piece of evidence in this case has not been found.
All right. Critical piece of evidence has not been found, our sources say. All right. We got that. We got that because it's the weapon. They haven't found the weapon yet. It's kind of interesting that there still is no weapon. That would be helpful. But again, nothing is clocking. I use this expression because I heard Justin Bieber say that to reporters that were pressing when he was trying to get out of a car or whatever. You guys aren't clocking with me. So this evidence that TMZ is presenting is not clocking with me right now. It's weird. It's not lining up with what we were told 4 weeks ago. This is why I document this stuff, because I show you what they said and then they change their story. And I'm just continuing on slowly but surely, just saying, you know what, Nick is not guilty. Not by reason of insanity, just not guilty. And he's in jail right now saying he never did it. He's saying that they set him up, that they framed him, and he knows why he's in jail is because they're accusing him of 2 counts of murder. They're accusing him of murdering his parents, and he's like, I didn't do it. This is a conspiracy against me. They're setting me up. They're making me take the fault. This is what Nick is saying. He was taken off suicide watch, meaning he's not a threat to himself. He understands his rights. And this is going to come out later. This perhaps is one of the reasons why I think this new attorney, Emily Green, is probably a lot easier than we think it is to prove that Nick is innocent. It's probably easier because TMZ is not doing the prosecution any favors. I've been saying that from day one. These guys are actually harming the investigation because they're making up stuff and they're lying about things. And why do you think the subpoenas, why do you think none of the celebrities want to talk to the lawyers of the prosecution, or as I should say, the defense? None of them want to squeal on Nick. None of them want to squeal on Michelle and Rob's child, Nick. Why? Because they have a great relationship with Rob and Michelle Reiner. And they're not rats. So they think this is ridiculous to tell on their child and say, yeah, he murdered them. When in fact, they're quite possibly, maybe there wasn't an argument at all. There's nothing to see here. So if you have no argument, you have no blood in the hotel, the timelines are different. He actually got arrested Monday night, not Sunday. TMZ is lying constantly. And you got to ask yourself, why is Harvey Levine spending so much time lying about this case from day one? And they're not even going after Rocco. And Rocco's been let in and out of the crime scene over and over again. I've showed you footage. Go to my post. I actually show you another time where Rocco was allowed in somewhere. And then he comes out the next day with evidence from the home, from the crime scene. It's weird and nobody's asking questions. I feel like I'm the only one that's asking these questions. And I'm showing you what they say, and I'm saying, look, this is weird. That's all I'm saying. You can get mad at me for asking these tough questions, but no one else is doing it. And I don't understand it. We don't have any celebrities in this documentary. We don't have any eyewitnesses. All we get from TMZ is our sources, which we got to protect. And we can't tell you who they are. And we're not going to tell you why they changed the meds officially. Again, if I was a Nick's doctor, and this is true, that the meds were changed, I would be suing TMZ right now for defamation. Because whatever reason, I don't care that they're going after this doctor. I honestly don't. But it seems early to do that when there is no trial until at least February 23rd. I feel like TMZ is wrecking this investigation for the prosecution. And I'm thinking Nick is just going to get off. Again, like it or not, I believe he's not guilty. I think he's going to get off as not guilty. And he's going to be able to talk about this later. So I don't think there'd be a gag order on him. And he's going to be talking about this. And you're going to be shocked that he looks normal. You're going to be shocked that he's intelligent, that he could speak. You're going to be shocked because right now they're building the narrative that he's a monster and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to show you interviews where he had a great relationship with his father, with his family. And they'll say the same thing. Why do you think the Reiners aren't saying anything bad about their brother? They're just not. All we get is TMZ doing this entire investigation saying he's guilty from day one. So I'm on the other side of the coin. I'm like, well, how about he's presumed innocent until proven guilty? So again, we're going to continue to show other video clips of this TMZ documentary until they pull it down, because I think there's more stuff in there that they say that's like, wow, that's a weird thing to say. Like, I can't believe you guys are actually helping the defense. Like, it's crazy. It's like a defense documentary. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging around with me, and continue to subscribe, and just do me a little favor. Double check your subscription to me, because sometimes what YouTube does is they will unsubscribe my subscribers. And I've seen hundreds of people accidentally get unsubscribed, and then they send me a message saying YouTube actually unsubscribed me 3 times. It happened to my mom. 3 times they unsubscribed her. So just double check that on your way out. Just make sure you're subscribed. Click that notification bell. That way when I upload another video, you will be notified immediately. Thanks again. See you guys in another video. Bye for now.